Hello, welcome to AfriScope TV. If this is your first time being on this channel, make sure you like this video, share, subscribe to join the AfriScope TV family. Today's topic is about the Pan-African village in Ghana, and I actually came across this NPR news article on the internet that I actually want us to listen to first before I actually give my take on what is actually happening there. I'm not actually from the central region, I think, where this is going on. But I think since I'm a Ghanaian, I think I have a bigger idea, and I think I have much to say about what is happening in my country. So, without much ado, let's listen to this wonderful article um, from NPR.
4 years ago, Ghana launched a campaign to welcome people from the African diaspora back to the continent of their ancestors. The country has even created a settlement offering free land to transplants so they can build homes and businesses. But as NPR's Emmanuel Akinwotu reports, that settlement has become a source of bitterness.
Dozens of houses are dotted across Pan-African Village, a rural settlement enveloped by miles of lush farmland and palm trees near the Atlantic coast.
Nobody has ever lived there before. It was idle land.
Lenville Skyers said he was the first to settle here 3 years ago and says he'll never leave. We meet in the lounge of his 6-bedroom home and guest house.
I was born on the island of Jamaica, couple months before 1950, right? So I'm an old man now, or oldish.
He lived and worked in Canada for over 40 years, but never felt he really belonged.
We as blacks and native people are regarded as second-class citizens. We've reached a stage now where there is an option to find land, countries where you can be totally free.
So when he retired, he considered starting a new life elsewhere. And then in 2019, Ghana's president Nana Akufo-Addo launched a major campaign.
Fellow Ghanaians, we have dubbed this year the Year of Return.
The Year of Return was a call to the African diaspora to come back to the continent and to Ghana. Thousands of black people like Skyers arrived, encouraged to visit or even settle. Then he found out about a project offering free land in a settlement within the town of Asebu along Ghana's Cape Coast. So we're walking through a dirt road that parts through this 5,000-acre expanse of lush farmland. That's Pan-African Village. That's a diaspora settlement donated or offered by a local traditional ruler to any black diasporas wanting to come back to Ghana. All around me, there are clusters of homes that have already been built and many of them under construction, dotted all across this vast expanse of land. Moyen Vivili is among a small community of people living permanently in Pan-African Village. She was born in Jamaica and then lived most of her life in the US. Then she moved from Atlanta, Georgia last year, and soon after, she says she was given a new title.
My name is Na Boafoyena Oyen Mempese Tulu the First. My title is Diaspora Development Queen for Ghana.
I meet her in her living room, sitting on a wooden throne, her feet on a stool that rests on a lion skin rug. She's dressed in kente fabric, traditional Ghanaian clothing, draped over her shoulder. She says she was crowned by chiefs from the Ga ethnic group.
I was concerned about my retirement, and the money that I was going to get for my Social Security could not pay a light bill or water rate.
But things turned around on a visit to Ghana. She acquired 2 plots of land and built a large 2-story house last year.
It was a salvation for me. I felt free.
I ask her what she thinks about life here.
In Ghana, people are humble. They don't need much to live. Food is the most important to a lot of people in Ghana. You understand? Okay, so they don't even need a fork. They use their hands. I mean, it sounds like poverty, but when you think about it, how much do we really need to survive?
A lot of local people that we've spoken to feel like the the diaspora have an advantage over them when they come here because they have foreign currency, they have access to land that they don't have access to.
Yes, they should own. If you're here as a Ghanaian, you should be able to own your own land and build your own home. So it's not our fault. We didn't get anything free.
But the local traditional ruler puts it differently, from his palace on a hill overlooking the town. Okatachi Dr. Amanfi VII is known as the paramount chief of Asebu and created the Pan-African Village project there.
I wanted to show to our diasporan brothers that we care for them. They are from Africa.
It's among a growing number of diaspora settlements that have emerged since the year of return.
My last check showed that we have about 560 people who have already taken land.
The land is free, and the only charges are what he calls administration fees of about $1,000 per plot. I ask him whether local people in Asebu have had similar opportunities.
Every Ghanaian must have access to land. Yeah, so no, irrespective of whether you are royal or whatever, you must have access to land. Land is life.
But he evades the question, and some, like 59-year-old Kwesi Otubensil, have even had their land taken away.
So we have been farming there for so many years, for generations, for generations.
We meet outside his modest home with other farmers and members of his extended family.
I used to farm lime, coconuts, oranges, that it has been destroyed.
They are among hundreds who used to farm on the land that belonged to their family for at least 4 generations, until the chief argued that as a traditional ruler of the town, he had the power to give it away. The family refute this and have taken him to court. They show me a copy of a high court order suspending any construction there, but the construction hasn't stopped. 44-year-old Daniel Kweku is another farmer in the family. He says when they went to challenge the diaspora's building there, they were threatened with guns.
Some of the diasporans told us they have gun at their places, so if they went there again, they will shoot us.
And now he's too afraid to go back there again. And he says they feel they've been hunted from their land. 68-year-old Ebuseben Kojobedu is the head of the family. He says when he first heard about the settlement, he supported it until he was told his land of 123 acres would be given away. He says the chief told him the land was not sold, but given away to the diaspora for free, so he wouldn't be paid for it.
No compensation. It means if I don't fight for it, my family property is going to lost.
But like many legal battles over land, the case will take many years. All while more settlements are set to emerge, offering the dream of a new life in Africa. Emmanuel Akinwotu, NPR News, Cape Coast, Ghana.
You've heard it all,
And now more from NPR.
Sorry, you've heard it more. You've heard it for your. Now you've heard it yourself about the Pan-African village, right? And there is a lot to say about what is currently happening over there. It look nice until you look into it carefully and you be like, no, is there anything that they are not doing properly? Or is there anything that they needed to do before all of this? Now, when the year of return was actually announced, I actually asked one of our local chiefs here in the Volta region if they know any, or if they had, if they were actually informed about the year of return. Over here on the continent, especially in Ghana, the local chiefs are actually the custodians of the land. So basically, even though the colonial administration, and today we call the Republic of Ghana, which has overridden their powers, but at the end of the day, they still hold um, some unique authority. I would say both spiritual and also um, I would say they are custodians, of the land. So basically, they have those rights uh, that are given to them, whether we like it or not. So when I asked this local chief, may his soul rest in peace, he's actually uh, not alive anymore. But when I asked this local chief whether they've been informed by the state about the year of return, he told me that no letter was released to them. They only heard it in the news that there is a year of return. So to actually get to see that my people in the Cape Coast area have actually taken it upon themselves to welcome the diaspora and to treat them well. I was like, oh, that's good. They've done really well to welcome the diasporan Africans back. It was later on that I heard on, I think it was on a channel called Ecosystem on here on YouTube, and it sorry to say the name again, Echo Simpson. Okay, here on YouTube was the one who started making videos about freelance in Asebu area, and alongside other YouTubers who started also blogging about the land and also communicating with the especially with African Americans. Only a few of them, made a video about the diasporas from Jamaica. So later on, I was actually, carried away by all of the, the happiness. When people are happy and you are a good person, you will also be happy with them. And when somebody is telling you about how great they feel at your, I mean, around you or whatever, how great they love Ghana and all of that, you'll be happy. So of course we were all happy, and I have somebody who also advocate that my cousins or my my relative, wherever they are in the world, also at least visit us, and if they would like to make Ghana a home, they should also make it a home, because I've been an advocate of that, and to get to see that there's actually a chief that is giving away large plots of land for the purpose like this, I was so much into it. I was so much into it. So it was later on that we started hearing about concern about people's farmlands being taken from them and they haven't been compensated. The families need land to farm on and a lot of things. And I'm like, oh, is this what is happening over there? It's so bad. But why hasn't the chief sat those people down to talk about how they're going to compensate them for their land and what they are going to get in return? Because we live in a country where there is no we live in a country where there is no social welfare. When people are broke, there is nowhere to go to. There is no free food. There is no food bank. There is nothing like that. So these are people who are farmers, and so when they are complaining that they are losing their farms, that is a big problem. So I was like, so what has the chief of Asebu done about this before even giving away the plot? He hasn't sat them down, the landowners down, and say, this is the plan. The administrative fees and whatever will be given to you. Part of those fees will be given to you so that you can also use to establish yourself. Okay. So that in time when you are in need, you wouldn't be depending on anybody else or the state. You wouldn't be calling for help or reporting to the courts that you needed help or your farmlands have been taken from you. None of those things were done. It was like, hey, these lands are not in use, so basically I'm giving this plot of land to you, or I'm giving it for free. I actually even have a cousin from America who heard about the land and contacted me And I said, yes, but I don't believe in free things. There is something like that going on in Cape Coast, but I don't believe in free things. If you are here and you know your families want to give you a land and the family sat down and give you a piece of land, it's fine. You can go ahead and take it. But when it become like a commercialized something, or let me just say something that has been taken over in the internet and everybody's just jumping on board, let me tell you, who doesn't want free things? And you've listened to this NPR news article. You've listened to it that they were even asking the chief, what about the locals? Do they also have access to free lands like that? No. I'm a local. Okay. I will soon be 30 years old. Do I have a land? No. No. I don't. And what if I'm also given a land? I'll be glad to take it. But it's not about people not having land. It's also about what about the people who own the land? What have been put in place to address their needs so that they will not be or thinking about their land in the near future, whilst disturbing people who are now owners or living or inhabitants of, or the new inhabitants of the land, which are the Diasporan-Africans. So the chief hasn't done his work really well. The chief of Asebu hasn't done his job really well as a chief. And of course, when I heard that they were charging $1,000 as administrative fees, and I was like, wait a minute. Because I know there are certain areas here in Ghana that you can use that same money to buy a half piece of land or even a single plot of land. There are places when we exchange that money, $1,000 in cities, that might be equivalent to something like 11,000 cities. That can buy you a piece of land somewhere, is not in Accra, but around some places in this country. So I was thinking, if people can spend this amount of money on an administrative fee for just for a free land, which they will call a Pan-African village, why don't they add something to it and get a plot of land with their own title and everything done in their name, and they'll call it theirs? Because we now live in a different type of system now, where everything is economized. I mean, when I say everything is economized, I meant to say everything has been, capitalized. Everything in our system now has been capitalized. And people are finding means of way. Things that we as Africans would never have ever would even vow not to sell. Now it is being sold. So in the past, right, people don't really sell lands here in Africa. People don't sell land. Lands are actually resources that are supposed to be given to people for use. But now, a lot of us have also adopted the foreign ways of living. And people are actually land grabbers who, I mean, from the colonial times have found out that, oh, now there's a new system in place. They started grabbing land for their families. So these people even bought plots of land in exchange with, I mean, for petty gifts. And that's what they call, because now they have document backing it and it's protected by the state. There's nothing you can do. But I digress. So the whole thing about Pan-African village became a little bit fishy to me. I'm like, why is this happening in this beautiful country called Ghana? Like, why is the chief who claims he's doing something good for the diasporan Africans engaging in something like this? And of course, what about the $1,000 application administrative fee they charging? What are they actually using that money for? The administrative fee, which is $1,000. Guess what? What if they decided to split for every plot of land they've given out, the administrative fee, which is $1,000, assuming they split that money into half, they gave at least 50% to the landowners so that they can resettle themselves and and compensate them and allow them to even sign a document together with the people who are the diasporan Africans. who are now the new occupiers of those lands. That, why wouldn't they do something like that? Because we live in a totally different system. So I'm beginning to think, uh, I mean, the chief, are they really educated? Do they know our current system? Do they really know what our current system entails? Like, do they really know what the state is supposed to do when it comes to land and all of those things? Because the laws of the state, or the Republican state, it's above everything now. You can be a local, a custodian of the land, but you are still a citizen of Ghana. And those people are, let me tell you, the diasporan Africans are coming in the name of Ghana as well. So whatever you are doing must be in accordance with the laws of this country. I know the people who are occupying that land and they are getting land documentation and whatever, but without the without the the signatures of the real landowners and people who are using the land, farmers of those properties. So you see the problem. So someone who asks, what is the what is going to transpire, or what is all this? What is going to happen next? I was shocked when I heard that some of them, when they even went there to their land, they were threatened with guns. And you know for a fact, people from the West, especially America, are used to their gun culture. To them, a gun is some of them, the gun is their companion. And if they start doing things like this, showing guns to the locals, what will happen in the near future? A little bit of encounter might turn into a violent encounter. People might go down, might lose their life. And I, in particular, was very concerned when I heard about guns. That, hey, are people bringing guns into this peaceful country? Are diasporan Africans, what do they need? What sort of protection do they need with a gun? Guns do not protect anybody. They cause distraction. They cause destruction. They kill people. People lose their life. So is that what they are going to be bringing forth here? Bringing guns to protect their properties or themselves? That's not right. And that is when I'm thinking we need to sit down with that chief. They need to sit down with the chief to redraft another agreement with the real land owners, so that they get compensated at least for their properties. Because now, when the when it gets difficult, okay, when it gets tougher, because guess what, we live in a very difficult financial times. I live in Ghana. Buying data to get on YouTube is even difficult. Okay, um buying food, basic food item, is difficult, because guess what, we are suffering from high unemployment rate. There are limited jobs out there. You have to survive by all means, doing whatsoever to survive. And now, what if, when push comes to shove, what is going to happen when people need to leave? Maybe those people, let me tell you, a lot of people still are subsistence farmers. They farm their cassavas, the plantain, or whatever. Some of them, when they get nothing, when they go to their land, we might find at least some plantain to cut off and go to market and sell some of it, and use some of it to buy fish and whatsoever thing that they need, and maybe pay for like electricity bills and whatsoever, or use the rest to come and feed their family. So what if now they don't have any of those properties and those farms again? What are they going to be feeding? What are they going to be living on? When we think about when we thinking about the prey, we also have to think about the predator. Without the prey, the predator will also not live. So um it's not really that complicated. That there are a lot of things that the Asebu chief needed to do that Asebu chief hasn't done. And yet we are about to deal with it the hard way, or the locals are going to deal with this the hard way, which is not right. The Asebu, I'm putting this out there for whoever who knows this Asebu chief needs to go and contact this chief. Let the chief sit down with the local land owners. Let them draft another agreement. I know for a fact that chief is taking all that administrative fees and whatsoever, and they are splitting it among themselves and neglecting the real land owners. That's what is happening over there. The greediness of our people, the greediness and selfishness of our people is going to cause us more harm than anything. I know for a fact that administrative fees they are taking is going into the pockets of the chiefs and their elders, whilst neglecting the real land owners. Because it is sickening to live in this country where a lot of these old puppets of fools, calling themselves whatever, keep destroying our image, tarnishing our image, destroying our future, while we the youth suffer. I know for a fact those chiefs are taking that administrative fees, pocketing it, living luxuriously, while the local landowners who needed to be settled are there suffering and crying out till this NPR documentary came out. So you see, it's shameful. It's shameful to live in this 21st century, this fourth industrial revolution, and you still have people who call themselves chiefs do this. The same generation of sellouts who turn around and point hand at their own people and they'll get enslaved. Let me tell you, if you are a diasporan African coming, you are welcome home. But let me tell you, do not ever settle for anything free. I mean, be connected to some of us here through DNA, which means we are biological cousins of us. When you come, when your families give you a property, they need to sign an agreement. They need to sign all the documentation and give you the title. Fine, you take it. But do not go to this chasing after free land when basically you can even use $2,000. You can definitely use $2,000 to procure a land with every documentation. So why do you have to go chasing after free land when you know for a fact that this country is poor, meaning a lot of people don't even have government assistance. A lot of people who are unemployed live miserably. Okay, a lot of people who are unemployed live miserably, and you could hear the woman saying things that the people are humble. A lot of people are not really humble; they are humble by poverty. And she was saying that the people don't eat; they only need food. The people how many Ghanaians? Sorry to say, but how many Ghanaians did that lady or that old woman know? I know she's a queen mother now, but how many Ghanaians do you know to say that Ghanaians only need money for food? It's funny, but that's her perspective about Ghanaians. But let me tell you, we are not different from you. Any diasporan African coming, we are not different from you. We are just like you. We are also educated through the same colonial system. We speak English, even if not fluently and with all the accent that you got. That doesn't mean that we are not like you. We also need the same things you need. We also want the same peace you need. That's why Africans, many of our brothers and sisters, scrape and scratch to get themselves out of Africa to all these European countries or all these Western countries just to find good job that to actually they can make money from and be able to send some home to support their family, to settle themselves or to get themselves, to step up, from poverty. So at the end of the day, the same thing you want in Africa, look clearly that you wanted peace, and definitely you get peace in Africa, but the Africans also wanted money. And so if that the relationship is not telling the way it's supposed to be, that we are also dealing with each other, not only that, oh, there is peace, let me go get it. When there is peace, the other people also want money, or they need resources, they need jobs, they need whatever. So think as a diasporan, when you are coming, do not neglect all the problems and say that I'm just coming for my peace, I'm just coming to build my land, I'm just coming to build uh, my story building, and I'm just gonna buy my car and stay inside. I mean, get a helper who will take care of the house and mop the house and cook for me and clean for me, and I'm just gonna live on my pension free of charge. And please, when you have that fantasy as a diasporan African, just remember that the place you are coming to, it also have its own problems. So how are you going to deal with that problem as well as handle yourself? I'm not saying you should come and give people money, but think about it carefully. Think about this carefully. If you are coming to a place where there are a lot of people who are unemployed, but at the end of the day you are coming for peace, think about it. How do I also make sure that I alleviate some of the problems of unemployment around me, so that my peace, the peace that I'm going for, I'll also continue living in peace, and nobody will, because of unemployment, will come and break into my house and hurt me and or rob me or steal from me. Yeah, you have to think about that. How do I deal with burglars? Well, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with all these problems around? So you see, so before you commit yourself into these free things and whatever, remember there is no free lunch anywhere. Of course, the $1,000, you might as well just add 1,000 to it and buy yourself a land. So yeah, I have a lot to say about this topic. I wish somebody else is here to share their views concerning this whole Pan-African village thing. But I'm gonna drop the link. If somebody wanted to join me and share their views concerning this topic, they can, I mean, call the show. So there's a lot to say. Okay, since the year of return, a lot of people have been doubtful. Like even a lot of channels here on YouTube that have these live streams, they brought up topic like Ghanaians are just making money out of, I mean, they are milking the diasporan. They are just um chiming in on this Pan-African buhaha, and this what they are going through, and this how they are making their money, and they made 2,000. I mean, people have been saying, they say they made $2 billion from the year of return, and it's just, it has become a topic on YouTube. So to see that, it look like clearly that it's seemingly sounding like it's true, like some of the things that some of the brothers spoke on YouTube, it's beginning to sound like it's true, when clearly a lot of these greedy old leaders continue to use their old tactics to make their own people suffer while they embezzle money. That $1,000, at least 50% needs to go into the pocket of the landowners. Yes, they need to also be part of that deal. Not all need, and then this leader is there just pocketing that money and expecting the people to be happy about it. So, as Ghana landed its campaign 4 years ago, and to welcome people from the African diaspora back to their ancestral home or their ancestral continent, and Ghana being a Pan-African country, which is, uh, as we know, and the settlement aim to actually provide, the free land for transplants to build homes and businesses, as they call. This is so the aim of the Asebu village, as I recall. However, as Our investigation now, this dream has turned into, or is turning into a nightmare for me. I mean, I was shocked to hear Leval Skiers, one of the first settler, who expressed his commitment to Pan-African village, but acknowledges the challenges faced by the Black people and Native communities. I actually love the way he was able to acknowledge that. And considering the second-class citizens in other parts of the world, you know, skiers who lived and worked in Canada for over 40 years saw an opportunity for a new life when Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo launched the Year of Return campaign in 2019. And seemingly, Pan-African Village seemed like a promising venture with clusters of, homes being built on the 5,000 expanse of lush farmland. Lush farmland. However, the reality on the ground is it's far from idyllic. Local farmers like the Kwesi Otu Bensil have had their lands taken away without any compensation from the chief, without even any proper introduction, without any proper involvement from their local chief, leading to disputes and court battles currently proceeding. Bentil and his family, who have farmed on their land for generations, now find themselves in a legal struggle with the local chief who claims the power to give away the land belongs to him. So, what does this sound to you? What does this really sound to you? So the paramount chief of Asebu, the name is Okatachi or Okatachi Dr. Amanfi the third. No, is that the third? I think, sorry. Let me mention again. The paramount chief of Asebu, Okatachi Dr. Amanfi the seventh, defends the Pan-African Village Project, claiming it's a gesture to show care for the diaspora. He insists that every Ghanaian should have access to land, yet there are reports of locals feeling disadvantaged compared to the diaspora, who have access to foreign currency and free land. Yes. So, Moyen, the name Moyen Vivali, the diasporan settler and the self-proclaimed diaspora development queen for Ghana. She described her move as salvation, emphasizing the humility of the Ghanaian people. However, there is a growing sentiment among locals that the diaspora settlers have advantage or have advantages they lack. Of course, they lack money, they lack the passport to travel to America and other countries, to seek greener pastures. I mean, this is exacerbating tensions. So the bitterness is not limited to the local losing their land. Daniel Kweku, another farmer, claimed they were threatened with guns when they tried to challenge the diaspora settlement. This atmosphere of fear and land disputes has raised concern about the sustainability of the Pan-African village and similar projects. And I'm scared, not only for Ghanaians, I'm scared not only for fellow Ghanaians, but for the Diasporan Africans or the fellow Diasporan brothers moving in as well. You know, as the dream of a united Pan-African community soars into disputes and resentment, the fate of the Pan-African village holds significant implications for the relationship between the returning diaspora and the local community. If the issues raised in this article are not addressed promptly and effectively, they have the potential to worsen relations and deepen the divide between the poor local landowners and the diaspora settlers. Let me repeat that again. If the issues raised in this article are not addressed promptly and effectively, they have the potential to worsen relations and deepen the divide between the poor land owners and the diaspora settlers. The biblical analogy of the exodus from Babylon to the promised land is a stark contrast to the challenges faced by those seeking a new life in Pan-African village. The dream of a harmonious return to Africa is at risk as it seemed in this article, and urgent attention is needed to foster a relationship that benefits all parties involved. That is what we need. We need urgent relationship to deal with this problem that that benefits all parties. When somebody is giving land, let's also make sure we give them securities such as job security, such as employment, or what else. Yes. I am not making this video to target the diaspora community, neither to speak down on my own people or my immediate family here in Ghana, but I am making this video to actually educate you guys or to raise this concern so that the locals, together with the chiefs and the diaspora community, sit down to address this from this very moment. Because we know from history that it is easier for an oppressor to become oppressed. Oh, sorry. It is I'm making a mistake, but let me take it again. It is easier for an oppressed to become the oppressor. We've seen it countless times that it is easier for somebody who has been abused to become the abuser. And we don't want that to be the norm. Because to them, that's all they know. To them, relationship is all about taking or, taking from people. So that is it. Or abusing people, whatever. So when in real life, when they come into contact with different people who don't live like that, to them, it's just normal. And we've seen that repeat so many times that people who call themselves settlers and go into South Africa, Americas, and whatever, those Europeans who continue to do that. Even today, there is a court case against. I digress. I will not talk about that. But on the next show, I will bring up the issues going on currently in the international court about Israel, and how the rest of the world, the European countries, are reacting to that, how they are involving themselves, and how they are playing the games. They are trying to dodge all the bullets because they know for a fact that they are the oppressors of the world, and therefore they would like to keep the oppressors in power just to protect their own image. How shameful and sad that is at the same time. That people who knows that they are wrong doers will still try whatever is in their interest and power to keep themselves being the oppressor because they are afraid that the oppressed will one day overtake them and become their oppressor. That's what they are afraid of. That one day, the people that they've wronged will one day wake up with the power and influence, and they will actually put them down, and they will have no power to control them again, to oppress them, and therefore they will become their oppressors. Do you think? I want somebody to leave a comment. I just want to ask this question. Do you think that one day, or if opportunity is given to the oppressed, they will definitely become the oppressor? Do you think this is true? Is this really true that all oppressed people will one day become the oppressor? And because this is what a lot of these countries are afraid of. That is why they cannot stand for what is right. Because they know for a fact when they stand for what is right, it will go against them. People will now judge them for their past wrongdoing. So they are trying everything in their power to evade all of that. Is that at the same time that what to say? What to say? Once again, to the diasporan African community in the Pan African village, I need you, or we need you, to go to the chief so that you guys can work on another deal or title or whatever. Work together with the lawyers and whatever to draft a new deal between not only the chief but also with the landowners, the real landowners, so that there is a consensus between you guys and the locals. Yeah. Welcome.
Well done, sir. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on the panel.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting question. I think when we look throughout history, most of the people who do the most oppression
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello? Are you still there?
Yes, I am here. I am here. Can you hear
Sorry,
me?
I had a phone call. A phone call just cut me
Oh,
off.
sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, the people who do the most oppression are people who see themselves as victims. So there's a relationship between seeing yourself as a victim and doing bad things to other people. I think there's some glitch in human psychology where people who have been oppressed uh, don't mind oppressing others. I don't know why that is the case, but that seems to be some part of the human condition. So I think this is part of what we're seeing here. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It's a sad realization that I've come to, especially when I read this book, I think it's the Pedagogy of the Oppressed.
Uh-huh.
You read that book before? I think it's
No,
by Pedro Pierre. Oh,
no,
it's been a while.
I haven't read that book, but I have studied uh, I have studied psychology, and it seems to be a consistent theme in psychology and in sociology that people who are oppressed, people who come from very troubled backgrounds, it affects their ability. It affects how they see themselves, and it justifies them
The
in
world
whatever.
at large. Mhm.
Yeah. So it's when you oppress others, you are creating potentially somebody who will oppress others. So it's like a cycle, a vicious cycle that keeps going.
Mm, I wish more people know about this, because it will enable us to awake and question our actions and how we deal with people in our everyday life. Because one of the things that when I came across this article, right, the first thing that I begin to question is what is the future going to be like for the people around Asebu and the Pan African village.
Mm.
That's the first thing I start to question. Yeah. Do you have any clue?
Well, the future will be around Pan African village.
And the local here, Asebu community and beyond.
Given the outcome that has occurred, it doesn't look good. Like I would not recommend other people putting themselves out, putting themselves at risk for the same thing occurring again. This is not a good outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it seems predatory. Like they collected money, but I don't know the laws in Ghana. Are people outside the country able to legally buy land in Ghana and possess that land, or is it something that is you can buy it
Yeah.
for a temporary term? Can you permanently own it, or can you only own it for like a
No,
period?
you can own land permanently according to the current laws in the country. You can only buy land on leasehold. The most is 90 years for locals and 50 years for foreigners.
So that's already a reason to not move forward. If I want to, when I think of buying something, I think that I own it permanently. So if that's not even possible, then I would never enter into such a contract. So it seems like it's a false premise. Uh,
Mhm.
who benefits from this interaction? The
Yeah.
the the people who collect that money. It seems to it's not a win-win scenario. Somebody is winning and another person is losing. I would rather see a situation where both people can win at the same time, and that's not
Yeah.
possible.
But if you look at this carefully, they claim it's a free land, but the administrative fee is $1,000. And I know for a fact that there are even some local villages here in Ghana that you can buy a land for that amount of money when you convert to cities. So why don't they add just 2,000? Because I know most places, I mean, in most towns, you can get about with $2,000 equivalent to cities. You can actually buy a plot of land. So why don't they just go buy their own plots of land and settle uh, than I mean buy into this whole idea of Pan African village, which is just going to be like an isolated a community of Diasporan Africans who live in nice houses and have
Mhm.
all the luxury items while the local community looks so impoverished. And I listened to the woman, and of course I just don't like certain things she said, but I'm
Mhm.
not gonna the way she was like the locals are humble and they all they need is food. They don't need nothing much, and they even with the food they don't even need to use fork and knife to eat anything. They can just use their hands. It's no, it's like somebody's thinking that. I mean, it's like somebody is not thinking in line. Like you see yourself like you deserve to have the best,
Uh-huh.
or you can have everything but not the other person. It's like you don't believe that the other person also want to have the best just like you have, and that's a big problem. That's a red flag to me.
But for a diasporan to move to another country, to move all their possessions to another country, uh, what kind of person can make such a move and be comfortable? I think in order to do that, you have to have some connection to that country, either you're married to somebody from that country or you travel there a lot. But just to pick up and move there, uh, having never been there, I don't see how that can even work. You know what I mean? Like, how can a somebody from Jamaica move to Ghana and be happy? Won't there be a culture shock or?
Of course, but talking about it, people from Jamaica in particular, over here in Ghana, a lot of Jamaicans actually are able to integrate easily, more than any other group.
Uh-huh.
Yes, a lot of Jamaicans are. I mean, we have Jamaican villages all around. Even here in the Volta region, we have Jamaican villages. Actually, I feel like the only people who are often find it very difficult to integrate are people mostly from the Europe and the North America.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. And they kind of live a pretty much like an isolated lifestyle. I know maybe it's something Western. It's like the community is different. You know, here in on the continent, we live in communities, and uh, we do It's like a silent kind of not agreement, but there is this code of conduct of community members. You are supposed to be involved at some point,
Mhm.
but you know, if like I'm different from you and I don't have to engage with you and I think it's the Western lifestyle, you know, it just shows the individualism or the culture of individualism from the West.
Right. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Um,
Mhm.
so I own. I was born in Nigeria, and my wife is Nigerian, and I own a home in Lagos, and I live there for part of the year, but I have a connection to the country. I have a connection. I have family there, but I think it would be difficult for a person who doesn't have any connection to that land just to pick up and move there. Um, at least in Nigeria, but Ghana is probably a different story. Nigeria, I don't recommend you moving there unless you know people there.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the gun situation? Because I heard the former land owners who were farmers on those land, they they went there and then some of the Diasporan-Africans were, I mean, chasing them away with the guns that they're gonna shoot them if they don't leave their
Hmm.
property. Do you
Hmm.
know how that? I mean, I want you to elaborate on this. Don't you feel a
Wahala.
little bit, you know?
That sounds like Wahala. Like, how is it that did the landowners not? Uh, Forgive me, I didn't hear the entire stream. So
Yeah,
the land was sold to diasporans.
they are not. It's supposed to be a free land, and they
That
are
was,
supposed to pay an administrative fee of $1,000.
uh-huh. But
And
then,
of course, the person giving out the land is the chief of the town,
uh-huh.
giving out the land. But over here in Ghana, lands are owned mostly not only by chiefs, most lands are owned by family
I
and
see.
actually dispersed among family members. So these are some of the family members who owns those properties complaining that I mean this is their land that have been given away. I mean, it shows clearly that they haven't even compensated them. They are seeing big development coming there, and you know these
Uh-huh.
are places where people farm. They have farms over there now. It has been confiscated.
I
So now,
see.
this is where the problem is. Yeah,
So the land has been sold out from under them, unbeknownst to them. They
they
had no.
just take their land. The chief took that land by authority. Like I'm the
Uh,
chief. I'm giving this plot of land to the diaspora, so you cannot go there. And guess what? The chief is taking the $1,000 and haven't even given any part to I mean, guess what? If you are giving a plot of land each out for $1,000, at least 50% needs to be used as compensation for the landowners. What do you think?
This sounds like a straightforward scam. The chief collected money from diasporans selling land that belonged to other people, but you can't really sell it. So he's collecting 1,000 from I don't know how many people, and these people can't really own the land, and the people who actually own the land are going to resist them. So this sounds like a scam, and the chief should
Hmm.
be held accountable.
Yeah, and the fact that they went to court with the case shows that it actually, it's something that people we need to pay attention to.
Hmm.
I wonder that from the way I listened to the woman, the chief of the Diasporan talk, it doesn't seem like somebody who understands the fact that they do need to, address the issues on the ground.
Uh-huh.
That's
And
mhm,
the chief is harming Pan Africanism. I mean,
mhm.
it's already there's reasons to be skeptical of Pan Africanism, but seeing this straightforward uh, corruption and people using it to scam people of money, it's only going to it's only going to remove any legitimacy that remains from this idea. So he's collecting money at the expense of the entire idea of Pan Africanism. So it's it's a wasted opportunity, and it just looks bad. It makes Pan Africanism as an idea look ridiculous. So that's my
a
opinion.
lot, a lot, a lot of people say this on YouTube. This whole Pan African something. People are just using it as a means to make money. It's like a business,
Uh-huh.
and we're seeing it each and every day play out in our face. And some of us that are genuine with it are left behind. Like if you are not selling anything, you don't even get any attention. So you need to sell something. What are we selling? Is it anyway? But to say this to people who are coming to Ghana, please. Even my DNA relatives, my DNA cousins, I told them, one of them reached out to me and I'm like, Mom, please, I don't trust those freelance things. If you come here and you want to build a land or whatever, just buy a plot of land, build on it.
Mm,
Own things yourself. So that years to come, nobody will come show up at your door and expecting something in return
right, right,
because it's very common. Yeah.
right. Yeah, but it's just not the way to go about it. But
Yeah.
I have to head out soon. But this has been a great discussion, and I'll just listen from the chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Yeah. I've been here for almost 1 hour, and I do not actually want to keep this stream going for so long. But if anyone is watching and wants to join in the stream and share their views against this, about this particular topic, this Pan African village thing, and versus the chief of Asebu and the locals, let's talk about it. You know, there were times when people questioned Pan Africanism and questioned the whole idea, but there were times when people also questioned the fact that why won't diasporan Africans come to Ghana and live in peace? Why won't diasporan Africans be able to come to Africa and also own properties just like any national from anywhere else in the world? This is Africa. This is where they are. This is the land of their ancestors, or this is the land of our ancestors. So why wouldn't they be a beneficiary of things from Africa? And of course, we all agreed by that. But when you look carefully at it, we live in a different era where we are all being put on a scale, and this scale is economic scale. Number one is political scale. Number two is Well, a lot. We are being put on those skills where to be able to make a laudable decision, you do need to measure up to that limit to be able to withstand all those things. I know this sounds a little bit deep, but let me just take it a little bit, let me break it into chunks so you can understand it. When I say economic, let me just talk about capitalism. We live in a capitalistic system now. It's not like the olden days where our ancestors, they their form of capitalism is based on relationship. You can basically go and settle with another tribe so long as you want to, you either try to denounce your own tribe and join them and partake in wars and settle with them peacefully. They will welcome you, give you a land to settle on, you become part of them. That's how some of our tribes here actually were in the past. But now we live in a different era where if you want to be part of a community, you need to bring your money. They say, okay, I want to have this land. If it's for sale, they say, okay, we are selling this for this, and you have to go through this and this and this to get documentation to prove that land actually belongs to you, and you did pay for it. That's the system we live in now. And when I say political system, we need to deal with not only the local owners but also the state. So first of all, you are paying to the local owners, but now you are also going to be paying the state for the survey work, for the registration, and the title. So you see, now we are having to deal with two entities. That's how Ghanaian land is or across most African countries. You deal with the locals and as well as the state. So you are not only dealing with the state, where you be like, oh, the state administer to everybody. So you don't need to really get involved too much with the local. You are there in the name of the state, but as well as the name of the locals. So if you are in a community here in Africa, make sure that you are really you want to really integrate. You really want to live with the people. Not that you want to separate yourself from the people and live like you live somewhere else, and then you forget the fact that you live in a different community and they have their own ways of living, and you also need to adjust a little bit, before you also bring your spice onto the table and then it blends with everybody else. That's how we need to think about our relationship with each other nowadays, because it is becoming unbecoming. It look more like questionable. It's like one-sided. If it doesn't look like Africans are scamming diasporans, then it's looking more like diasporans are taking advantage of Africans. When it's clearly not. It's just that we lack the understanding, we lack the knowledge about how to deal with each other. We lack the knowledge about how to work with each other. So the biggest thing that we need to do to foster a good relationship, number one, is education. We need to educate each other about ourselves, our history. We also need to educate each other about our broken system, so that when you come in and you see a poor Ghanaian just hungry for food and not really thinking about land and not thinking about building a story building, you wouldn't say that they only need food. You will also think that you will know that, hey, if looking carefully at the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay, looking carefully at Abraham Maslow's theory, I don't know what it's a theory, but the needs, on that pyramid, you see at the very bottom of it all is what? Physiological needs, food, shelter, clothing, all of that is at the bottom of it all. So if you see a local only just chasing after basic needs, please understand that that's what they need the most. To be able to move to upward the pyramid, you first of all need to be satisfied in the stomach. And let's not judge the local and be like, oh, they only want food. They are only after food. They don't care about anything else. No, they do care. But they're not going to die on an empty stomach. They're not going to, starve to death before they will start building houses. No. Only living beings who are satisfied in their stomach build. So you see, when you are above the means, or when you are living above the means, or you are above the regular Ghanaian or the regular African, when you migrate to the continent, you see the regular Africans just beneath you, they're saluting you, begging you for alms or whatsoever. Please do understand the fact that you do live in a different bracket. It shows clearly that, hey, where you are definitely above, on the pyramid, you are above that. You are beyond the physiological need. You are at a point where you are seeking. A lot of people moving in, like the old lady, she is definitely actualizing. Yeah, she is actualizing. She is using the wealth and the knowledge and whatever she has to actually live off on that and live a better life here in Ghana. So she needs not to judge the locals who are just not close to where she is on the pyramid. She needs not to judge the local and say, oh, they are just after food. So let's educate ourselves. If anyone is here who want to join, please click on the link and come and share your views. I'm not the think tank. I don't know everything, but I do believe that we can teach each other something. Okay? And I'm saying this again and again. We don't need guns in Ghana. We already have poverty crisis. We already have poverty problems. So bringing in guns means you are adding fuel into the fire. So we don't need guns, please. In Ghana, we already have poverty. When you add guns to it, it's going to be worse. So the Diasporan-Africans coming in, educate yourself. Ghana doesn't need guns. But we do need your knowledge. We do need your skill set. We do need your involvement in critical issues like this. The world is for all of us. But when we need to understand the laws of the land, we also need to understand where you are going to. When there are already people somewhere else, you need to respect them. You need to actually pay them the respect and make sure that you work with them to be able to live peacefully. We are living in an era where there are some wars currently going on in the Middle East. And that war is now beginning to raise critical questions about ownership of land and settlement, and as well as what we call invasion and occupation of land in general. Now we are questioning that because of what is happening in the Middle East right now. So we are redefining what's supposed to be done, what we need to do, the homeworks we need to do to be able to foster a good community, to create a peaceful community where inequality doesn't cause conflict, but inequality actually pushes us to do good or to put in our relentless effort into building up a safe community. I don't know whether that sounds, logically correct, but the inequalities around us shouldn't just make us give up on life, but it needs to encourage us to also put in an effort so that at least, even if we can't address all problems, we address some and say that we've done it. If human beings are able to create problems, then they can actually as well solve it. I don't want the relationship between the diaspora Africans as well as the Africans on the continent to become like a predator-prey relationship, like oppressor and oppressed relationship. Like somebody is the taker and somebody is the giver. No. I believe that as human as we are, we need to be of benefit to each other, no matter where we are in the world. That is why when we are talking about even diasporan Africans, I'm not really talking about descendants of enslaved Africans only. I'm also talking about Ghanaians who left Ghana or Africans who left their various African countries to settle in the West, make money, and had all the benefits from the West, and now they returning to their peaceful home with all the blessings of wealth that they got, and then their mind is that I'm tired, I'm just coming to rest and sleep. Oh, I'm just coming to build and live my luxurious lifestyle. Please, don't do that. There is a reason you went to the West. If you reach there and you've made it, make sure that you put certain things in place back in the country that's also able to benefit your own people, so that we stop being the beggars always. It's time to look up there and be like, let me correct the wrong. Let me do something else. Let me do something else that they are not doing right. I need to do it. I mean, I think we need to all encourage ourselves that we can all do something. We can do something. Instead of seeing our African problems as being gigantic, that we can't solve, it's time that we look around us and be like, and encourage each other and be like, hey, you can do something. Little by little, look at the ants walking on the floor. They don't have big muscles, they don't look giant, but look at what they can do with collaboration and coordination and the teamwork that they have. They are able to do. What about us, human? Does it mean that we can only create problems around? No. If ants can do it for themselves, then humans can also do it. If ants can do it, then humans can do it as well. So shout out to everyone watching. Those of you who will be watching later, make sure to like this video and keep supporting our Facebook TV. Share this video, subscribe. Let this conversation expand, and let there be change in Ghana, let there be change in Ghana, in Asebu, and across Africa. When it comes to Diasporan-African relations, we need to do it well and do it best, so that in the near future, our descendants wouldn't face any issue, okay? Because we have seen it repeatedly in history that it is easier for the oppressed to become the oppressor. And this is the cycle you and I need to break. Once again, if you want to support this channel, please go ahead. You can send me an email. Go to my About page, send me an email that I want to send you some support, because here in Ghana, there are limited ways to which we can accept funds from the West. Paper is not, we are not eligible for paper here in Ghana. The Cash App, we are not eligible for it. So basically, the means we use mostly are the Remitly, World Remit, Wave, Send Wave, and all of those. But this is the same way. If you want to support me to send Wave, you can click on this link. I mean, you can't click on it, sorry, but you can type in this link into your browser and then support me with $10. If you want to support me with $20 for what I do, go ahead and send that support. I will definitely leave it right now in the chat. Let me copy this. So if you want to support me with this, it's going to be in the chat. Sunwave. First, I think, no, this is Wise. It's not send wave. But if you want to use Remitly or any other method that you know, I mean, you can reach out to me. Go to my about page, look for my email, send me an email, and then I can release my details to you about how best you can support the show. Once again, as well, if you want to use, if you want to buy me a coffee, as it's been called, um, yeah, if you want to, support with $10, you can click on that link as well. As well, buy me a coffee. This is buy me a coffee link. Buy me a coffee /Facebook TV. That's it. So that much I do. I'm gonna call it out today. And there's a comment here from Icon Fire. Shout out to Icon Fire. I don't consider that your comment as valid, because what does it mean to have a support? What do you mean? When you say support, what does that mean to you? Support, you have to educate yourself about what support means, okay? If I already have a channel running and I say I need a support to run a channel, to run content like this, you do need to understand it as well. So you need to actually sit down and educate yourself about what support really means, okay? I do not need to be hard. If I'm already making it like, if I'm making consider amount from whatever YouTube or whatsoever, then I don't really think I need support anyway. Yes, because I don't think big content creators who already have earning to YouTube, whatever, I don't believe that they need support that much, because at the end of the day, they have the support that they need already. So I think you need to also educate yourself about what support really is, so that way you don't put comments like this, because it look like you are against me getting the support, which doesn't sound great, right? Let's wish each other good, because if you might be there, you also need support from somebody. Do you want to say that the person, you need to qualify for certain things before the person sends you support? So that is it. For people who will be watching later, make sure you like this video, share, and whatsoever. Let's keep supporting. Let's keep, sharing love, and I believe one day we will all contribute to making the world a better place. That's it.